Why should I vote? Ever hear the old adage, if you don't vote, you can't complain? However true this may be, reality is there's more at stake than your right to complain. The importance of voting goes much deeper. We, as American citizens, have the right to be heard. There are so many people who have fought and died to grant us the freedom to vote. I'm going to explain the importance of voting and what could potentially happen if you don't vote. This all started recently when I had several friends say they weren't voting because the person they wanted for president wasn't a primary candidate anymore. I know how disheartening this can be, especially for those who love their country and hardworking, contributing members of society, but to say you're not voting is laying down and giving up. Why is it important to vote? Here is one major reason. I know many people say they don't want to vote because the person they were going to vote for didn't get chosen as a potential candidate. That is no reason not to vote. According to an article in Huffington Post called 7 Reasons You Should Vote This Year's Election, it says, even if the candidate you loathe is destined to win in a landslide, you can make a dent in their margin of victory. That limits how much of a mandate they can claim once in office, encouraging them to promote more moderate policies so as not to jeopardize their reelection. Conversely, even if you know your preferred candidates will win, adding to her margin of victory can only help her advance her agenda in office. So what better reason to vote when your candidate doesn't get the part? At least you still have a say, and you can limit their abilities to just take over the White House and do what they please. Even if your candidate didn't make the pick, doesn't mean you should just give up and turn your head the other way. This country still needs your vote, and your vote does make a difference. How many people actually vote? I found some statistics on this matter, and it is shocking to know that people don't vote. The 2008 Census Bureau says that only 63% of all people registered to vote actually voted. That doesn't seem that bad until you realize that only 72% of America is even registered to vote. In reality, only 45% of America is even voting in these elections, even though they could determine the fate of the country. The Importance of Voting by Hattie Liddell. This whole idea is scary. Only 45% of Americans are determining our fate. We all need to stand up for our rights. We all need to exercise our rights. This isn't about voting for who we like. It's about making sure our children have a democracy when they are parents. If we don't do something now, there won't be anything left for our children. 10 reasons voting is a good idea even if your guy didn't make the draft. 1. A president can appoint with Senate approval Supreme Court judges who may serve for life. 2. A president can appoint federal judge, ambassadors, top government officials. 3. A president has veto power. 4. A president is the commander-in-chief with tremendous influence in declaring or ending war. 5. A president can call out troops for short-term military action both here and abroad. 6. A president has federal pardon power. 7. A president can issue executive orders that do not require congressional approval. 8. A president has the power to influence legislation. 9. A president represents our country and interacts with world leaders. And 10. A president can make treaties. So, any one of those 10 reasons is a good reason to vote, let alone all 10 reasons. A president has more power than we think, and when we don't use our voice to let them know that we won't tolerate not being heard or executive orders being executed just for the fun of it, then we really don't have any right to complain about the state of our country. There are many factors at stake when we don't vote, so it's best that we check our ego and ask ourselves, is my pride more important than my country? So on to what happens when I don't vote. I know many people don't think their vote counts. According to my findings, even if the person you want to be president isn't chosen, there is still good reason to vote. It's a lot better than standing by and doing nothing, hoping things will change on their own. This may surprise you, but it's a fact. When you don't vote, nothing changes, and the government just keeps giving free stuff away to people who don't want to work, and people who could actually benefit from our tax dollars helping them improve their lives will go hungry. Voting is an important part of being in a democracy. We have a duty as Americans to vote, to be heard, and to tell our elected official what we expect of them, even if they aren't our number one choice. Additionally, there are those who believe that the uninformed voter shouldn't vote. I have sometimes heard we should go back to the old days when people only voted if they owned property. I've heard people say you shouldn't vote unless you pay taxes. As much as everyone's entitled to their own opinion, everyone is entitled to vote. I may even say that people are obligated to vote. There, I took it a notch higher. I think we as a people have a right and a duty to this country to vote, even if we don't agree on who we should vote for. At least we're making an effort to better our country. Also, if you aren't informed, get informed. It's not hard, and at least you can make an educated decision. On top of that, people fought really hard to bring our country where it is today. There's no reason not to exercise your right and vote. Finally, if I have said one thing that could cause your heart to soften or your mind to change your feelings about voting, I encourage you to do so. No one has to know you changed your mind. You won't be considered less of a person if you do vote. Your vote counts and it will make a difference. Our country is at stake and we need each other now more than ever. Even if we don't agree who should be president, voting is an important part of being an American. In conclusion, good things happen in this country when we do vote, even if the person we wanted to vote for didn't get picked, and bad things go unchanged or continue to happen when we don't vote. I know I have said it before, but it is the cold hard truth. Voting is important and your vote makes a difference. So be an American. No matter who you want for president, vote. It'll be the best thing you've done all year.